Okay. So good day, everyone, and welcome to the 23rd Starknet All Core Devs call. We have an agenda focused on following up from our deployment activities and ongoing development efforts. So let's get started with our agenda items. So the first thing on our agenda is mainnet O13.4 and O13.5 deployment status. So we can hear from Leo about the mainnet deployment. And Leo, could you give us an update on how the March 24th deployment of O13.4 and O13.5 went? Were there any
Yeah.
issues that we encountered during the deployment or after?
Yeah. So we we upgraded on Monday from 13.3 to 13.4, and then on Tuesday 13.4 to 13.5. Uh, the big upgrade was the first one. So there we encountered some issues which led to a bit of around 20 minutes of downtime. Uh, so the TLDR is there was a this version was introduced a breaking change in the storage, so we had to resync the storage, and it wasn't well synced basically. So we just decided to revert to 13.3 and then
Mhm.
restart the flow a couple of hours later. After that, all went fine. Uh,
Okay, okay.
um, yeah, apart from that, some uh, stuff with
How's the
Node.
provider migration looking?
You mean the providers upgrading their nodes?
Yeah, yeah.
No, everything like everyone is very responsive and they upgraded. There were some uh, issues there, also some due to the upgrade, some unrelated, all fixed by now. So for now, it's looking fine. There's still something to be checked in the gateway, but we're still investigating. Um, Apart from that, I think that's all.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Leo. And does anyone have any questions about the mainnet deployment or any related issues that they faced during this thing or something like that? Okay, no one. So let's move to client team updates following the update. So Rodrigo, could you share Juno's experience? I'm particularly interested in how the RPC compatibility solution worked out.
So I think on our side, RPC is quite functional and stable. We haven't seen or received any errors requests so far. So everything is good. Regarding the update, there was a time where the Juno node were uh, given the notion of being stuck because of the huge blocks, and we have like a default timer of 5 seconds. And we had many people complaining like, "Oh, it's stuck," and said, "Oh, you have to modify," which is a flag, by the way. But we are also now addressing that. So in the future, we have a like dynamic uh, timeout window. So like it increases and tries with, so it can give time to the feeder in any case, or whatever is in the future to support it. Yeah, but so far all good.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you, Rodrigo. And Christian, what's been Pathfinder's operational experience since the upgrade?
Uh, Fairly similar to Juno's experience. I mean, we also had problems fetching these huge blocks for the exact same reason. So the default request timeout is 5 seconds in Pathfinder. It is configurable, so we hope that all affected parties have reconfigured their nodes and they are just syncing fine. And there are some very interesting issues with the Starknet get events calls with certain RPC providers running Pathfinder. Uh, some of these have been solved, and we are still trying to find out what the root cause is for other providers. This is probably completely unrelated to the Starknet upgrade itself.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And from Caser Labs, we have Plantorian here. So is there any progress from you guys regarding the implementation?
So currently, development efforts have been split into two teams, as you might be aware. There's the Casa Lab team, which currently is working on exploration, and in particular the Quasar testnet to test Madara in a production environment. Moonsong is handling the stabilization of the core code base. Right now, Madara does not currently support 0.13.4. I can't speak for if this is in the works currently. You'd have to see with Moonsong Labs to have more information in those regards.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, Randorian. And we can move to Cairo native implementation status on the agenda. So, Ariel, could you update on the results from the replay testing? And how is the dictionary optimization performing on testnet?
Unfortunately, I don't have any concrete news. I can say that we're still running the replay, and it will take a few days to get the result. For now, we didn't encounter any differences, so I'm optimistic about running 0.34 on testnet soon. And performance-wise, also hard to say. Lambda class did some benchmarks and didn't encounter many changes, but there aren't the benchmarks didn't include specific aggressive tests against heavy use of dictionaries. So it basically replays a bunch of transactions.
Okay. And what's the timeline looking like for a production rollout?
Still early to say. 4.34 will encounter no diffs, then I think we can have it running on testnet in 1-2 weeks. And for mainnet, we want to gain a lot of mileage on testnet and maybe have some sort of shadow fork of mainnet as well. And when we'll get this confidence is hard to pinpoint, but we'll want it running at least for a small number of months.
Okay. So let's follow up on the next thing on the agenda, which is, thank you, Ariel, which is discussion about P2P protocol configuration safeguards. So the last time about P2P protocol safeguards, Shahak, there were some concerns that were raised about chain ID verification and misconfiguration risks with manual peer setup. So have you had a chance to consider any other approaches to address this issue, or how is that planning out?
I don't have a strong opinion on this subject. So if others have a strong opinion on adding the chain ID, I think that we can add them. So it depends on you guys.
Christian, Rodrigo.
Yep. So this was something I wrote up in the last call, I think. I do think that it could be very helpful, but only for debugging, of course. So I don't think it has a huge impact on production or anything like that. It would just pretty much be an additional safeguard that would make it clear if you misconfigure something.
Okay. So I think that we can add them and the chain ID to the both protocol names and topics, right?
I don't have a strong. Probably yes. I mean, those are very similar in effect. Like, if you add it to topics, then why not add it to protocol names? Yeah, but that's just my 2 cents. I would be very interested in other opinions as well.
But I don't feel anyone has any other opinions in this call. So
okay, we can also just take it offline.
Yeah,
I mean,
Santorian wants to speak something.
Yeah, I was just wanting to ask a clarifying question. Is this on the subject of adding chain ideas to the consensus topics?
Yes, and also to sync protocol names.
Yeah, yeah. In that case, like at least for us in the near future, with having to support L3s and app chains, that would make a lot of sense if we want the app chains to be able to share the gossip network with the L2 settlement layer. There would potentially need to be a way to differentiate between each of those, or else we're going to start executing blocks from multiple different networks.
Yes, the original plan was that Kademlia will separate the nodes, but in cases where in testing you're dialing directly, not using Kademlia for discovery, then it doesn't work. So that's why the request to add chain ID was added. Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
So next on the agenda, thank you, Shahak. Next on the agenda is Managed consensus integration progress. So Adi, in our last call, you mentioned investigating disconnection issues during block exchange between Papyrus and Malachite and working on ADRs for application consensus interface. So what progress has been made on these fronts?
Yeah, there was good progress. We actually considered the first iteration on the interrupt tests done. So there's no more disconnection issues. Now there's blocks being produced regularly. The next steps would be to do more in-depth testing, including latency, bigger network size, because we did just small small networks of just a few nodes. And the other level of complexity we're going to add is to produce non-empty blocks. Currently, the blocks that are being produced in the interrupt tests are just empty blocks. On some of these fronts, we're chatting with Matan and Shahak. I think Bastian and Romain from our team is reaching out to them, unless they already did. Then on the ADRs, both of them either have been merged already today or they're close to being merged. I think one of them was merged already. To recall, these were sparked from conversations with the Madara team around 3 weeks ago. Last week we had another sync review session with Trentorian that helped feed even more context into the two ADRs. I think Pathfinder Christian was saying that you will start after 0.13.5, so maybe this or next week integration. So we're super happy to support that. And there's one more thread of work that we started, which is with Matan. There was some reviews of the different subprotocols that help ensure liveness. I think in total there's 3 of those subprotocols, and they're all being carefully scrutinized, and the design is being reviewed. There's no specific timeline on when those need to be finished, but just to update here that that's happening as a parallel thread to interrupt tests and to Mother and Pathfinder integrations.
Okay, perfect. So are there any questions about the consensus integration work that any other client team wants to ask or wants to say something? Okay, no. So moving on to the next point on the agenda, which is L1 data extraction tool discussion. So Leo, has there been any progress on deciding implementation priorities or next steps for standardizing blob data decoding since the last call?
To be honest, not really, since we had
Okay.
quite a bit on our plate.
Mhm.
I mean, it's certainly something that we want to do, something that we want to exist. But yeah, it's currently not highly prioritized. I know that Václav from Pathfinder is working on it. There's progress there, so we hope to have at least something.
Mhm.
And maybe it will be enough for our needs. So not a lot to play there.
Okay. And maybe Vaclav, you want to say something about this topic?
Well, so far it's really in the feasibility stage. I have some tool that is that is downloading and parsing the blobs. The blobs have different versions, naturally. Now the first version is working. Second version, which is adding stateless compression. The stateless compression is working, but it's not integrated with parsing yet, hopefully this week. So that's basically the state now.
Okay. Thank you for the information. And we have covered all the items on our agenda today. And does anyone have any other business they would like to discuss? Okay. So thank you everyone for your participation today. And as a reminder, our next call will be on April 10th at the same time. So see you then. And if you have any suggestions for the agenda that you would like to present at the next call, please reach out to me. And have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.